So good morning, friends. We start again. Thank you, Usha ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Just a minute, making you the host.
Yes.
Ma'am, you can actually wait for 2 minutes. Some of them did not take the
Sure.
break. So,
Okay.
so they
Okay.
were speaking to me. They just went. I said 10, we'll start. 3 minutes.
So 3 minutes more.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'll finish my cup of tea. Yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We can start.
We
Yes,
can,
ma'am. We
right?
can start.
All right.
Yes, yes. Please
Okay.
start.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope you'll have had a cup of tea. or coffee
Yes,
or
yes,
whatever?
we had
Yeah.
breakfast.
Okay. So you had breakfast. Right.
Yes.
Uh, okay. In the break time, I just brought in a picture of the fishbowl genie since it generated so much of discussion. I thought I'll show you a picture of how a fishbowl group discussion looks like. You can see the inner circle and you can see the outer circle. This incidentally is also called a cattle corral, where apparently in the earlier days cattle would be placed like this for sale or for exhibition. All right. Yeah. So this is our fishbowl group discussion. Now, quickly, when let's look at what are the advantages of a group discussion, and let's look at why a GD is advantageous in L&D. See, all of us know that it's used as a tool in selection, in recruitment. And for those of us who do not know the history of assessment centers, group discussions were earlier used by the army or by government organizations to shortlist people, or mainly as an elimination tool to ensure. And why group discussion? Because in those days, there were few jobs or very limited jobs, and unemployment was rampant. And and hundreds of people would walk in for one walk-in interview or for one job advertisement. So recruiters had to actually decide who to keep, and they also needed to check whether people can speak at all. So if you want to find out if someone can talk, put that person in a group discussion and give them a topic. So that was one reason for which a group discussion was used for recruitment and to get the best. Now, for you and me as trainers, okay, how can we use it? One, it helps you develop analytical skills, critical thinking, for those people who need to develop speaking skills, who need to learn how to speak in the English language. If you put them to 7 or 8 group discussions, they would be able to talk at least. Okay. For a business like my earlier friend spoke about in terms of implementing a new software, a new LMS or whatever, you get people to sit down and talk and you get a lot of ideas. So it's a good tool for idea generation. And most of us, since we are HR professionals, you know that a group discussion is used as an essential step in assessment centers and in competency mapping. Are all of us familiar with assessment centers? Do you need me to explain that? Over to you, friends. We all know what is competency mapping and assessment center. Or do you want me to explain? I don't think you need me to explain that. Assessment centers are systematic, structured tools used by the organization to ensure that you get the right person for the right job. All right. Now, what are, if you use the group discussion, there are certain disadvantages. And what are those? One, if not led well, it can lead to group things. So out of fear of, being an outlier, can actually end up saying, I agree with you, my friend. I agree with you, my friend. And it leads to groupthink. So no new ideas may come. People may think that a GD is a debate and they may actually, start fighting with each other. Typically, and this always happens in a group discussion, and I feel very, and this is my opinion, people who are strong, tall, or have loud voices tend to dominate the discussion. Sometimes even people with very good communication skills may dominate the discussion just on the basis of their language and their word power. Uh, it may create conflict, and shy people can sometimes become even more shy. And this is one thing which I've seen in a group discussion. If someone feels that I have all the information, and if I have an attitude, I may refuse to share my thoughts. I'll just keep quiet. I have had students telling me that if they don't want a particular company, if they don't want a particular job profile, Ma'am, I kept quiet. I didn't speak at all. Why? Because if I speak, then they'll shortlist me for the interview. Once I go for the interview, if they take me, then I can't refuse the job. So these are some things that can actually deter people from joining in the group. All right.
Ma'am,
Do
sorry
I
to say,
have,
but someone's
yeah,
baby is crying. Voice
somebody's
is so.
baby. I'll mute that person. Someone is it's a long group of people, so I don't know who is. Okay, there is one. I've muted. Okay. Now, what are the skills that you test in a group discussion? I don't think I need to repeat all of these, but in case a person has to participate, the person has to ensure that he develops listening skills, team participation, general awareness, very important. So what we tell our students mainly is that you want to get shortlisted in the group discussion, read the newspapers. And in most cases, if you see the competitive exams, such as let's say the UPSC or the MP or the civil services exams, IAS or army services, they test the temperament of the person. Is a person getting angry? For example, once I remember one of the participants, I was sitting as an assessor and an observer, and you have these number things, the number plates, or you have a participant given a number on a cube, and he was
मैं
so
पढ़ाई कर
angry
रहा
that
हूँ
the other person
नहीं कर
was
रहा हूँ
not accepting his point of view, that he picked up that
नहीं ना
number
मैं
plate and
कंसंट्रेट
almost
नहीं कर पाऊंगा
pointed it at this other person. Right? Friends, may I
प्लीज
request you to mute yourself if you are talking to someone at home. May I request that you mute yourself, please? Please, please. Uh, yeah. Friends, yeah. Okay. Yes. The next one. What are we talking about? Yeah. Now, I spoke to you. I said ways in which you can conduct the group discussion to test people. One, you can either give them a case, you can have a situation group based group discussion where you're giving a scenario and asking the group to discuss. You can use the talk show, you can use the lateral thinking exercise. Another technique of the group discussion which came up during the COVID period was the jam session, or you call it the group just a minute, where you're giving the participants just 1 minute to participate in the GD, and in that 1 minute, whoever can talk can talk. So that brings out the best in communication skills, right? So these are some of the
Ma'am,
evaluation. Yeah, yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Tell me so.
Ma'am, can you tell me about the six hat the technique we use?
Six thinking hats. Okay, 2 minutes.
Yes,
Huh?
ma'am.
I'll just take you to that slide for six thinking hats. It's a little ahead. So then from there, you will be able to understand better. Yeah. This is the six thinking hats technique. I think I've spoken about this earlier. I'm taking only half a minute for this. But here you're getting, let's say, you can have two variations where if you're an entire class of 60, you can divide the class into six groups of 10 each, or you take six participants. Each participant wears one hat, or each group wears one hat. The red hat is for emotion. The white hat is for facts and figures. So you discuss only the facts and figures. Yellow hat is for optimistic. अच्छा क्या हो सकता है? The sunny side of things. Black hat is the devil's advocate. Black hat says नहीं ये अच्छा नहीं होगा. Let's exercise caution. The green hat is for creativity, just like our green color in our flag, national flag is for the creativity aspect, samruddhi. Blue hat is the executive's hat. The blue hat wears all the hats. And you can actually vary this activity by making colored hats and making the participants wear those hats and then talk from that angle. The blue hat speaks last and synthesizes all the points. Now, a good six thinking hats technique where you can actually get participants to change their hats. So first you wear the black hat, then you wear the blue hat. Sorry, then you wear the yellow hat, then you wear the red hat. So early morning, let's say you come to work, let's say at 9 o'clock, everything is on fire. You can't think only in one direction. You have to think from all directions. And the idea is to get people to think laterally or to think in all directions. And that's your six thinking hats. Read the book Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. There are two books, Lateral Thinking and Six Thinking Hats. All right. Solve your query, sir. Shall I go on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, so that's where we are looking at these are the evaluation parameters for group discussion. I'll be sending the slides, the presentation, so I'm not going to elaborate on this. You can keep this for future. All right. And then move on to the demonstration method of the group discussion. But before I go on to the demonstration method, I would like to speak on how can you make the most of the group discussion. If you want to use it as a good training tool, what are the things that you can do? One, assess the group and decide how much time they need for preparation. Sometimes if the group is well prepared and a highly qualified group, even 1 minute is okay because people are raring to talk. Sometimes you have to assess the group and decide whether you want to give them 10 minutes time or whether you want to give them 5 minutes time. Or if it's an organizational discussion, you may actually want to give the topic one day in advance and say prepare for the topic and then come. Don't stop people when they are talking as far as possible unless it is getting noisy. You can be a participant in the discussion to make shy people more comfortable. And as a facilitator, you have to be very keen in observing every participant and taking your notes. If possible, record the discussion with or without the knowledge of the participant. Okay. Now, friends, we've discussed the group discussion. Yeah. Anika, you've raised a hand, ma'am.
Yes. Ma'am, I just want to ask one question. As a
Sure.
facilitator, what is a better approach? Say, if I'm trying to bring about a certain point that I need to
Huh.
debrief on after the group discussion concludes, do
Huh.
I let the participants in that direction and let them to converge to that point, or do I let them diverge and get maximum viewpoints?
Okay. I'll answer your question for you. In fact, thank you for asking this. There is something that I can see that there is this number. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Now, as a facilitator, Anika, are you there? Yeah.
Yes.
As a facilitator, it is not our job to give our thoughts and our viewpoints. Our job is to enable people to talk. All right. So it's a place where people are expressing their thoughts, their knowledge, or their viewpoints. Now, what we can do after the discussion is over, the first thing you should do is clap for everybody, applaud. And I stress this, sounds silly, but make people feel good that they were in the discussion. Because for some of them, it is so difficult even to open their mouth. And you know what I tell people? What you can tell, this is something I learned from an expert trainer. This is people who find it difficult to open up, give them the 15-point rule. So the first time somebody opens his mouth and says something, even if it is nonsense, let that person give himself 5 marks and give a pat to himself on the back. You have to be your own congratulator. Second time the person speaks, again let him give himself 10 marks. That way the person has to come to 15 marks at least. So that way he or she knows that he has spoken and has felt good about it. once the GD is over, ask each person by name. Talk to them. Okay. Rita, how did you perform? Okay. Roshan, how did you do? Okay. Usha, how did you do? Let Usha speak for her own performance. Let Roshan speak for her own performance. Let Rita speak for her own performance. So Rita may say, I did well, ma'am. I had few points, but I was able to put them across. However, I had not read up enough and therefore I should do a little more homework. Someone else might say I didn't have points at all, so I had to listen to everyone else. And that way you make everyone feel good and identify points for improvement. Then open up the GD to the discussion to the audience. And then if you have the time, appoint one observer per participant. And then the observer who has noted down all the plus points on and the improvement points can tell the participant, look, Rita, you did this well, but you could have spoken a little more. And then all those together, after the observers have put across their point, you as a debriefer or as a facilitator can now put across your observations for each participant and say, look, Rita, I observed that you were using too many fillers. You can use this technique to overcome your fillers or to be more participative. All right. And in a group discussion, very important that you do not tell them things like what you did wrong was or what you said wrong was. It diminishes the confidence of the learner or of the participant. Instead, tell them what you can work on is body language or posture. What you can read is read this particular book. So what you're doing is you're reinforcing the person, you're giving the person the confidence to speak, and you're also orienting the person to read a little more or to do a little. This is something that we can definitely do to make participants feel good. Usha ma'am, this meeting is again telling me that it is going to end in 10 minutes time. May I request?
I've upgraded.
Yes.
I don't know what's the
Yes.
problem with this account.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am, and sorry to be disturbing you.
No, I'm sorry about it.
That's okay. All right. So, Anika, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Are you there? This is a beautiful way. And people, participants and people, employees are sensitive. The minute you tell them that you did something wrong or you didn't speak well, they'll shut up and never open up again. So, people's self-esteem has to be very delicately managed during a group discussion. All right. So here we come to variations of the group discussion, and I'll start with brainstorming. What is brainstorming? What is brainstorming? Anyone? What is brainstorming? Come on. Someone who wants to speak? No, this is a technique. It's a very, very old technique of speaking in a group. And it's also a concept now. It's also a concept because a lot of psychologists and a lot of people have done a lot of research on brainstorming, and there are a lot of
brainstorming
groups.
is
Yes, sir.
brainstorming.
Yes, sir.
Basically, if you have a problem for which you are looking for a solution,
Okay.
then you throw open that particular problem to a group.
Okay.
A group which has got a domain knowledge about that subject.
Okay.
And then they come out with their viewpoint and their solutions related to the problem.
True. Very true. Thank you so much for that. Who was this? Who spoke? May I?
Ajay.
Ajay. Yes. Thank you so much for that.
Ma'am,
You're saying, yeah.
it is all about drawing solutions for one particular problem in different aspects. Like everyone has their own perspective of the problem. So, they give out solution based on which the best solution would be, bought out from this brainstorming. And then that solution would be implemented to resolve the issue.
Okay. Thank you so much. And what I got from you was you give them a problem and you get solutions from various people who are expressing from their own experience. Now, I would like to add on a little over here. When I say solutions to a problem, how about just ideas? How about just ideas? Where people just express what is going on in their minds about a particular problem, about a particular concept, or about a particular issue at work. All right. Now look at these two words. We're looking at the brain and we're looking at storming. So when you say storming, we're actually, bringing in a storm of thoughts. I like this word. And when you say brainstorming, it may not be as systematic as a group discussion because you're allowing people to express. And earlier, apparently, this brainstorming technique was also known by the term think up, because there is a book by that name. So when you're saying a group attempts to find a solution for a specific problem and all the ideas are coming up spontaneously, you're not stopping anyone from saying anything. Why? Because the minute you regulate or you direct people to speak in a particular manner, then the originality does not come up. New ideas, new products, new concepts, typically used in an innovation lab, okay? And I want to use this word and I'm going to make a annotation over here. You're saying to find multiple solutions to one problem. So 10 people bringing out 10 different solutions to one problem. Are we getting that? A flow. And again, when I say one more, no mental blocks. So nobody stops you from talking about a particular issue. All right? Okay. Let's look at who looked at or who devised the concept behind brainstorming. Alex Fagney Osborne, who is known as the father of brainstorming. He was the one, he was actually the head of an advertising agency called BBDO, and he brought out this creative technique called brainstorming. Now, there is this book called How to Think Up by McGraw-Hill, written by Alex Osborne. And in due course of time, he resigned as the CEO of BBDO and went to full-time authoring, went on to writing books. And he was the one who said that if you want to get ideas from people, you actually allow them to open up, speak up, and storm their ideas, right? This is so much for our examinations. If they ask you a question like, who was the brain behind brainstorming? We know that it was Alex Osborne, the 40s. Okay. Now, it's very important. He laid down certain rules for brainstorming. And these rules are important for us. And therefore, I'm going to spell them out a little. He said that when there is a brainstorming process going on, there will be no evaluation. So you will not say you're right, you're wrong, or your idea is better than somebody else. Let people just talk and let the ideas come out of their brains. All right. People can suggest the most outrageous solutions. Don't be a prude. Don't raise taboos. And don't say that, no, this is not done. So encourage people to come out with outrageous solutions. Okay. You never know, from an outrageous new solution, something might come up which may be useful to the organization or to the particular concept, right? And Don't say that we want only quality solutions. Sometimes out of quantity, quality may come out. So you put out all the everything, all the thoughts that come together. After that, you can build on those. You can build some kind of semblance. There's a term called method in the madness. So let the madness come out first, and then you bring in a method into that. Okay. And your solution should come out of what was spoken in the brainstorming solution. So you're calling someone for a brainstorming, and then say you talk, and then at the end of it you say, friends, I have my own solution. I was waiting for the discussion to be over, and now I bring in my something. Sorry, not that. Your solutions and your synthesis has to come out of the brainstorming sessions. Friends, are you getting what I'm saying over here? Okay. You cannot, rule out completely what people have said and then say this was all nonsense. My solutions are already ready. I was just trying to see whether something different comes in. All right. This is your 4 rules of brainstorming. Okay. Friends, are you in for a brainstorming session?
Can you go back one slide, please?
Yes, sure. This one?
No, the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
Tell me. Anything that you want to see here?
No, the last point I had just missed.
Okay. We're saying
Oh,
that
yeah, I see
participants attempt to build upon and integrate solutions from those that were voiced in the session. So typically what happens now in a management meeting, you call a set of people, you call people and you ask them to talk. And then everybody talks. People feel good when they are asked for their opinion. And when people talk, what you do is you say, okay, fine. Now, friends, thank you very much. You may move out. We already have our solutions to this whole thing. What are you doing? You're actually, making people feel bad that what we said was of no value at all. So as a rule, he said, when you get people to express their ideas and their thoughts, include them in your synthesis. That's what your brainstorming solution is all about. Right? Answers your question, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Are you all in for a brainstorming session?